Good evening and welcome to the grim darkness of the Too Much Time on Our Hands podcast. I'm just going to move you all over because you're a little bit off centre there. There we go, lovely. I am joined tonight by my fellow Primarchs, Dangron.
Hello. I mean, grr.
Grr. That's pretty much what I can say, isn't it?
These butcher's nails me really angry, which is a good thing because any other emotion makes me feel pain.
He's very, very... Anyway, and down the bottom there, it's Dalkin.
Yes, I'm lost in a labyrinth of a nightmare with my pet salamander.
Yeah, I think you might have misread a thing or two there. But
and Russ is a prick, but we'll get to that one later.
He really is, isn't he? But some of the best hair of any of the
yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Yeah.
And that is a tightly contested field as well. So,
who are you kidding? Full Grim and Sanguinius have the best hair.
Yeah. I said some of the best, but there's some pretty good stuff out there.
And sadly, Tom is now a redacted Primarch because he is the lost one.
He's been expunged from the Imperial record.
Yeah.
In case you haven't guessed or just think we're talking complete nonsense, we may as well just admit that we're pretty much a Warhammer podcast at the moment because we're very flighty with our attention, and it's what we're all into at the moment. In another 6 months, something else will come along, capture our attention, and we'll be all about that.
Yeah, get ready for a Model Planes podcast in like about 6 months' time. So
I've come dangerously close to Model Planes.
We did sort of resist just doing several podcasts about planes after Top Gun. You know, we did a lot of Top Gun related, but we did manage to resist on that front.
But we're like cats. We're disloyal, we're flighty, our attention span is minimal, and we're very easily distracted. So at the moment, it's balls to the wall 40k. And tonight we are doing a run through of some of the best / worst characters in the whole thing, the Primarchs. So
absolutely,
we're going to go through them all, and I think just what you I don't think there's not really any point in trying to do who's best because they're basically all the same pretty much.
Horus is best.
Yeah, they all sort of reluctantly agree. Horus is slightly better than all the rest of them, but they've all been written and portrayed in such a way that whenever any two of them fight, pretty much they just trade some dramatic blows and then one of them runs away going, "Ha-ha, you coward."
I beg to differ. There is a couple.
Pretty much, but because they can't change the story at all.
Yeah,
they're all pretty much static. They're all basically the same. They all have different skills, but if you average them out, they're all fairly
really selling this, Russ.
No, I'm just saying. So there's no point in trying. We're not trying to say who's best, who's strongest. Might do who's best looking, but it's more just what our reactions are to these characters, what we like about them, what we don't like about them, any interesting trivia, etc.
I like the fact that it is probably one of the most exciting times for Warhammer 40k with 10th edition on the
and that is a bandwagon which we are happy to jump on.
Everyone is talking about 10th edition. All of the new Tyranids data sheets were released today, so naturally we're talking about the stuff that people talk about when they're bored of the hobby, which is like how good the Primarchs are and stuff. Which is pretty much
because we are irrelevant.
Finger on the pulse there, yeah. Let's start by saying the Emperor's a bad dad. Okay.
I mean, he is not guessing any Father's Day.
Yeah.
No,
Malcador the Sigillite bought him his Dad of the Year mug. Let me put it. World's best dad mug.
Like Malcador the Sigillite, who is a very sketchy, dangerous guy.
Yeah.
And he is the one who is like the cuddly, nice guy parent that they all go to when Big E has upset them.
He's the voice of reason a lot of the time, which is bonkers because he's also the guy that sets up the Grey Knights.
Yeah,
and he's not the voice of reason.
He's nuts and very dangerous, but compared to the rest of them, he's broadly fine.
We'll talk about some of them being nice. It is in relation to the other Primarchs how nice they are. They all did still go on great crusades to try and preach the word of the Emperor to planets that did not want that to happen.
Some of them not really preaching the word, shall we say.
No. But they're all pieces of shit. Let's start with that one, okay? It's 40k, everyone's a piece of shit. When we say we like them, we generally mean we like the story behind them, They're not nice people. We like to talk about them.
Yeah, so wouldn't necessarily admire these people.
No, and you should not admire anyone in the 40k universe. Except you should admire the Lehman Russ battle tank. That's the only thing. It's beautiful. It's got that same thing of me with planes, which is that when I look at an F-35, I see that's a very beautiful plane, but I also think it's designed to kill people, and that makes me less happy about my opinions on it. But yeah.
Well, speaking of designed to kill people,
beautiful.
Let's start with Primarch of the First Legion, the recently stopped hitting the snooze button, Lionel Johnson. Lionel, if you're nasty.
L. Johnson. The one who was beneath the rock.
So,
He was.
I don't know.
Like
Stanley Goodspeed.
I've always, I've never really had much time for the Dark Angels. I've always found them a bit pretentious and annoying.
I had a lot of time for the Dark Angels because I like the backstory of the fact that they did sort of maybe just dabble a wee bit in a bit of chaos. I think I quite like the name. I like the colour scheme, to be fair. I quite like the greens. They're called Dark Angels, but they were kind of good, kind of not.
Well, they originally wore black, didn't they?
Yeah, and I've always
and
seen
Lionel
them,
Johnson sounds like he should be an NFL player. Hello, Dan. And yes, he does, yes.
Yeah, well, obviously they vary between sort of black and dark green, don't they? But they're actually... I think at the time of the heresy, didn't they wear black? I think. I don't know. Again, skipped over those books.
We might get a glimpse into what I value in Primarchs tonight by the fact that I think the lion, and the fact that everyone calls him the lion kind of annoys me a little bit. But he takes himself a bit too seriously.
That's the thing. Yeah. He's very... Yeah.
Yeah. And I get it. Ooh, he's on a terrible forest planet of Caliban, and like he comes back and everyone's betrayed him, and that's a bit shit. But like, I mean, that happened across the board. It wasn't just his legion that had people go, you know what? Maybe that just happened. That's the thing. Probably didn't need to exterminate his home planet to prove a point there. Really.
Is that what he ended up doing?
Yeah, but well, the reason the rock's the rock is because they all live on the rock now.
Oh yeah, but I thought they had such a big fight that they punched the planet in half.
It is something like that, yeah.
Essentially, it was the fallen angels, and
that was it.
Led by his surrogate dad.
Lionel went down the shops. When he gets back, his best mate has changed the locks and told him he's not allowed back in, and then they have a big scrap.
Yeah, and because while he's gone, Luther's like leading this whole thing of like, you know what? I'm hearing good things about this Horus fella. He's very softly spoken in the books, and I quite like that. And I'm not being funny, but Lionel Johnson's a kind of a dick. So maybe we should go and do this whole chaos thing. And then he gets back, and they're like, we've had this great idea, and then it kind of goes off because obviously they don't like that. Also, Dark Angels, right? A little too focused on the fallen. Like there's other stuff going on, like, and also it's just this whole secretive thing as well annoys me a bit. Like,
yeah,
like we'll get to Gilliman in a bit. The Lions model does look awesome. That should
so
points.
Positive things.
Yeah.
I love the angry old man version of Lionel that we've now got.
Charles Dance,
coming back.
Charles Dance.
And I mean, because he basically looks like a Lannister anyway, and that's kind of what he is.
Absolutely.
I like the fact that they don't have any servants in the Rock. They've just got these weird little dwarf alien things in robes that they won't answer any questions about.
The Watchers,
yeah.
They just exist.
I quite like that Cypher guy who pops up at the end of stories every now and then, solves everything, and then disappears from a locked cell over and over again.
His name's a bit on the nose, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
But, it's...
I didn't realise that Caliban... didn't click, but some of this... of Caliban and stuff. Isn't Caliban also... is it Caladan?
Caladan is where the Atreides are from in Dune.
Yeah, and so Caliban is basically a forest moon.
Doesn't Caliban mean something? This is where we nearly had someone come on tonight who would have been able to answer this question.
It may well do. Remember, a lot of Games Workshop sort of like names and stuff have very deep links going back to sort of like medieval history and mythology and lots of stuff. And then also a lot of their names are the sort of names that might come up with a bunch of nerds on a long lunchtime in the pub.
Which is where they all came up with the names. Yeah.
Like,
I mean, that's also where I think one of the things to bear in mind with the Primarchs is that the backstories for all of them were originally a sentence long. Yeah. And didn't really have to make any sense.
Yeah.
So the fact that they've managed to at least kind of spin them out into something vaguely coherent is quite impressive.
I do quite like Lionel's backstory though, because he was basically a wild man on a feudal planet, and so he was a knight. And some of his pictures of him as a knight are pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do like the way they tweak power armor to look kind of like different things.
Yes, so he was kind of like he also had. I mean, everyone had a harsh upbringing, but at least I don't know. I mean, he's not the coolest, but
let's just quickly. What do we think Games Workshop's favourite Shakespeare play was? Caliban is half human, half monster from the play The Tempest. After his island becomes occupied by Prospero, which we'll get to in a bit as well. So it's from the Tempest, which kind of makes sense. The warp is kind of like heavily involved.
Yeah.
Caliban is some kind of monster in mythology, isn't it? And the planet Caliban was full of monsters. Yeah.
Of course, because that's also where we've got in the Expanse. If you had mention of the Expanse on your TMTOH bingo card, you can knock that off.
Mm-hmm. That's a really good point. I've forgotten about that.
Yeah, Caliban was a created monster with different sides. And anyway,
cool.
I think the picture we've put up says everything about him.
Yeah, bit stuck up, pretty hot.
He's pretty hot. You're not wrong,
but a tad boring. And you've got secrets. We've all got secrets, mate. Just fucking deal with it.
I kind of hate how the Dark Angels just do the whole zig while everyone else is zagging thing as well.
Yeah,
like it's. Admittedly, not everyone should conform to what Gilliman wants to do, but Gilliman's got an idea, and generally he's right with it. But we'll get to that in a bit. Mm-hmm. But it's I just don't think he'd be much fun down the pub either.
He would not be a laugh.
No.
True. Bit too intense.
Yeah, I think he takes himself too seriously, but yeah.
Right. So,
so
we're moving on.
Yep.
To the Second Legion. Oh, nobody knows.
No one knows except
Redacted.
So, this is the first
allegedly
of the missing Primarchs.
Yeah. The story is that they went rogue years before all this happened, isn't it? There's a rumor, and then but really it doesn't really matter.
They've never brought out. There's never been a hint of any details as to what really happened,
apart from that Lehman Russ, the Space Wolves.
Yeah, I just read that book actually. That's quite cool. When
they're
sort of talking about the possibility of Space Marines fighting each other, and this guy's like, "Holy shit, that's unthinkable. That's unprecedented." And Russ is like, "Nah."
Yeah, no, it is totally. Yeah. But Lehman Russ it feels like Lehman Russ kind of. We'll get to Lehman Russ in a bit. Mm-hmm. Not that far away, actually, but yeah.
Ain't nothing on the Second Legion.
No, and it's deliberate, so Games Workshop can just add something in when they've got nothing else to do.
Yeah. Well, I think didn't they? I think the real world reason for it was so that you could make up your own legions. Yeah. If you wanted to. But now that doesn't work, so they're redacted.
No, they went with the whole founding chapters and then the following chapters, whatever they're called. So
they might have been too drunk at this point already.
It may well have been. Right, Third Legion.
Just quickly,
one of the favourites.
Dan says Second Legion Primarch was called Anonymous Rex. There we go.
Nice. Full Grim.
Cube Anon. But yeah,
one of the most fun Primarchs, definitely.
One of my favourites
to go to the pub with and to read stories about.
And
if you go to the pub with Fulgrim,
don't get a haircut.
One of those nights that both of your wives would ask you what you're doing, and you say, "I'm just popping down for a few drinks with Fulgrim." they'd be like, "Are you sure you want to do that?" Why? Do you remember last time that happened? What?
Yeah, it's like that bit in
having a
Peep
murder
Show
orgy.
where they go to Hans's stag do, and he's like, "It degenerated. I knew it would degenerate."
I fucking love Fulgrim. Like, he's such a bellend. Like, he's just Okay, for starters,
he is a monster. Like, he's a prick.
like
He's such
not
a prick.
just.
But he's
not
got hair
just
like
after
you,
he
Dan.
descends. No, I wish. Look at that fucking hair.
I know, it's
Also,
nice.
Fulgrim's. Bricky said it best when he said, if you wanted a Primarch that would give you the best sex you've ever had and then never call you back, that is Fulgrim. Like, it's 100%. Like, I was trying to think of another way of putting it, but that is the best way of putting it. Fulgrim would be an amazing shag, and then all you would be thinking about is, I wonder if Fulgrim's thinking about me, whilst you see him like canoodling with someone else.
Oh, they are very. That is one area that Games Workshop completely steers clear of. There is no Adeptus Astartes sexy time.
They don't have sex. They don't need to.
Yeah.
It's like
even with the
part
Emperor's
of the code
Children, they don't really.
So
talk
you've
about
read
that.
Fulgrim, haven't you? The book.
Yeah, but none of the Space Marines are doing the nasty.
No,
Well,
it's all the
not that
remembrance.
nasty.
Stuff,
They're doing other
isn't it?
nasties.
Yeah, having sex while the Space Marines are going around killing them all.
Yeah.
So
So I think the idea is that they just don't have that drive at all. They're completely asexual beings. Apart from Fulgrim. Fulgrim fucks.
I was about to say, if anyone's going to do it, it's going to be Fulgrim. So like the idea of Fulgrim is he wants to. So for starters, most of the Emperor's children came from money. They had genetic defects that was eventually solved. But that was, I think, from the ones from Terra. I think I might get this wrong.
They were basically a bunch of posh boys, weren't they?
Yeah. So they are mostly like pretty posh and strive for perfection. That's what the Emperor's children have always wanted to do, is strive for perfection, which has led them to just like the idea that it just drives you absolutely insane, just trying to get something perfect.
And as with most things, with him, it's caused by him never quite getting his dad's approval.
Yeah. Absolutely, yeah.
And
the Emperor is a bad.
Yeah.
And so like he eventually starts to descend to chaos when he sees this sword that he really likes on this planet with all these creatures that are all kind of like snaky creatures, and every time they're killing them, they're having a whale of a time. They're fucking loving it every time the Emperor's children are like jumping in there killing all these creatures, and they're just like, I can't believe. I'm wording this really badly, but there's a lot of like the Emperor's children going, why are they enjoying being killed? And then gradually, like, he's like drawn to this sword, which is imbued with a greater demon of Slanesh in it.
Yeah, it's the Blade of Lair.
Yeah.
Lair.
Yeah, and he's sort of, is he tricked into it by? I can't remember. There's all these shenanigans.
So
isn't there?
so this is one
normally
of the
Lorgar or someone like that.
It's not Lorgar. It's the fucking Erebus, the fucking chaplain from the Word Bearers.
Yes.
He just fucks around with everything at one point or another. He is a dick, and if you've seen any 40k stuff, you've probably seen the smug Erebus or fuck Erebus meme, which is Erebus covered in tattoos on his face with this little wry grin on his face.
He is kind of, if there's one person that you could point at and say, it's your fault, it's him, it's not Horus. Horus is tricked into it just as much as any of the rest of them.
Yep, Horus is continually just trying to do the right thing.
Yeah, he genuinely believes that he's saving the Imperium.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, so at first he does. I think by the time of the Siege of Terra, he realizes what's happening.
Yeah.
Have you guys read The End and the Death?
Nope.
Part 1?
I will probably read that in about 20 years' time.
Don't bother reading all of them. Skip to the end, mate. You know what
I'm
happens
enjoying
anyway.
it. That's the thing. So the last one I read, I'm reading Thousand Suns at the moment, which I'm really enjoying as well. But I stopped because I started listening to Adeptus Ridiculous, and I'm now trying to work my way through all of that before I go back to Thousand Suns. That being said, I think Fulgrim might be my favourite book, with Legion close to it. Fulgrim's horrible, disgusting, and I kind of love that about it. like the story of like the artist and starts to use like bodily fluids to paint this painting that Fulgrim eventually ends up in.
So I think that's something that people sort of mistake about the Emperor's Children sometimes. They're just like these like BDSM freaks or something, but it's not. That's not what it's about. It's about an excess of sensation of all types. Yeah. Which is sort of how they get you, because it can be anything. It can be
hence Noise Marines.
Yeah, like, but it can be like art. It can be music. It could be poetry, but it could also be pain or food or
drugs as well.
Yeah, like anything, like even things like the satisfaction of a job well done, or like taking pride in your craftsmanship in something. It's any sort of prideful excess sensation is what they're all about.
Yeah,
and
I fucking love Fulgrim. Like he's like when the Emperor's Children eventually release models, I will probably buy an Emperor's Children army. Like
they don't really have anything at the moment, do they?
No, there is like some third-party Fulgrim models, and then the Fulgrim model you've got from Forge World's quite good, but it's non-Demon Primarch Forge World.
Yeah, that's true. We should probably talk about current status of these guys. So Lionel recently woken up. Second Legion, question mark. Fulgrim currently is a big snake.
He's a big snake. Yeah.
Knocking about in the Ira Terra somewhere. So he is a full-on Demon Primarch, isn't he?
Yeah, Dan says excess of sensation, popping bubble wrap is how Slaanesh would get me.
Yeah.
Just like this endless
hills of bubble wrap
on the bubble wrap. Yeah.
You wouldn't really want to get a haircut off Fulgrim, would you? Could go pretty wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, look at those fingernails he's got on him.
I do love the story of the Phoenix and the Gorgon, and the fact that it's called the Phoenicians and stuff. It's just.
Should we wait till we get to Ferrus Manus for that? Because that is where I would argue that Primarchs can kill each other.
Yeah. But I mean, Fulgrim does.
Yeah.
That is a good story, that one.
It's fucking amazing. I love the fact that they're kind of best friends as well. Like they're two complete opposites. And
so Fulgrim is one of the ones. So Fulgrim, Sanguinius, and Horus are the ones who were the most kind of popular and charismatic.
Yeah.
And everyone liked them. So everyone really loves Fulgrim before he goes full weird.
And when he goes full weird, he becomes the biggest pain in the arse for absolutely everyone.
Yeah, he starts being a complete petulant dick to everybody all the time, doesn't he?
They are involved in the Siege of Terra just because they think it looks fun, and then when they get bored, they fuck off.
Yeah, they just wander off and start torturing civilians, don't they?
Yeah, that's all they're doing. It's bonkers. And then
even before all that, they team up with everyone else, and everyone's like, "Oh, God, you guys are too busy doing your hair and painting your nails to bother fighting again." And they're like, "Yes, so what?"
The Emperor's Children are full of people like that, though. Full of problem people. Like, it's not just Fulgrim. Fabius Bile, for example.
Fabulous Bill
is a problem. Fabulous Bill. He's a problem. Just wanting to experiment on all his soldiers, and that's where Noise Marines come from. The idea that they're instilling I think does he steal it from Howling Banshees? Did I make that up?
No, it's from the Laerian.
Oh yeah.
Aliens that they're fighting. He takes some of their DNA and starts doing stuff with it.
Yeah, it's fucking weird. And then you got people like Lucius as well.
He's a prick.
Yeah.
Although he's a good character. The fact that so he's utterly the only way anyone can ever kill him for good is if they take absolutely no pride in the fact that they've killed him. So he's basically immortal.
And he's arguably the best swordsman in the in the Space Marines as well.
But so you can kill him, but then a week later you become him and your soul is trapped in his armor, and you end up just being one of thousands of little writhing faces going, "I regret this."
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, it's really.
Emperor's Children are fucking awesome. They are weird as fuck, and I love them for it. And Fulgrim,
the fact that Fulgrim gets possessed by his sword and then goes, no. That's not how this works.
He depossesses himself, but then pretends to still be a demon just to sort of see how everyone reacts.
Yeah. So like everyone's torturing him to try and get the demon out because they realise something's wrong, and it turns out he's been gone for a while.
Yeah, it's a bit weird.
I fucking love it.
A bit weird,
Dan
kind
says
of covers
Fulgrim's-
them.
Yeah.
So
Fulgrim's
Fulgrim,
chilling on his pleasure planet. Yeah.
pretty hot.
Fulgrim. Pretty hot.
Currently
Better
a
hair than
snake.
Sanguinius. I'll stand by that one as well.
Next up, 4th Legion. It's Peter Turbo.
I fucking love Peter
I don't
Turbo.
like Petrarbo. I find
Do
him.
you not?
I find him really
I love
boring
him.
and annoying.
He's he's a fucking bellend.
Zero sense of humour.
No,
Doesn't let them have so much as a pot plant on their desks on any of their ships.
No, he is all work as well.
Yeah.
To the point of like he just cares about getting it done.
But he always
That is
he's someone who strikes me as just his response to everything is like, "Ugh, fine."
yeah.
Like he's so dull and dour. Is he the
joins-
one who decimates his legion for no reason when he
No.
first gets them?
No, that's
That's
Kurz, isn't
Angron.
it? Oh,
Is that
Angron, yeah.
Kurz? No, it's not Angron.
Angron every 5 minutes.
Angron kills loads of them
Yeah.
because they come to like bring him a cup of tea and stuff, and he's so angry he kills them. But it's like it's I can't remember who it is. Is it Petrarbo?
It
Who
might
just
be,
goes,
yeah.
you know what? You guys are a bit shit. Beat 1 in 10 of your colleagues to death now.
No,
Yes.
that is Angron. That's Angron.
It's not
because
Angron.
Every time he sets them a challenge.
No, that's different. That's different.
No, but he does the 1 in 10. He kills them
Yeah,
because they
but that's
fail
not.
to meet.
That's not the whole legion, and it wasn't the moment he took them over. So he does.
Yeah,
he
no,
does.
I think
There's a
so.
lot of that sort of thing goes on. But one of them, he sort of like sees them for the first time and goes, "Oh, you guys are shit," and just makes them kill each other.
I love the Iron Warriors, and I love Perturabo. Because
I like that he's got a bit of a pot belly on him.
yeah, he does not put up with any shit either. Like he hates chaos. Like he has become a demon Primarch now.
It's sort of a
and
reluctant
chaos
demon.
undivided.
Yeah, but
Yeah, he's not lying to
also-
anyone in particular, is he?
No, but he took part in the siege on Terra and stopped because he saw they were fighting with demons, and he's like, oh, "Fuck this! This is weird, isn't it?"
Yeah,
just
he gets
fucked
really
off.
disillusioned with it, and he thinks that Horus is like losing focus on why he's doing this.
And he's right.
But there is like some fairly like he doesn't really consider himself to be a traitor or anyone to be a traitor or loyal as such, and he wouldn't see himself as siding with all the other chaos aligned Primarchs.
And it could have all been solved if Daddy just let him build a house. Like,
Oh, yeah, that was it. He wanted to go home and fortify Terra, didn't he? But
yeah,
Dawn got
but,
the
Dawn
got
got
the
the
job.
job.
But
Exactly,
I mean
and he
that does
hated
like
that.
his whole thing is they were fortress breakers. They were the ones who knocked down fortresses, whereas Dawn was the one who built them.
And they were by far and away the most useful legion in the Horus Heresy for Horus as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like they were the ones that just kept it going pretty much. Like everyone else on that side lacks focus. Let's be honest. You've got Fulgrim who's doing whatever the fuck he likes. You've got Angron who is a bit much. You've got Mortarion who's just trying to come to terms with things and it's not really working out for him. You've got Magnus whose legion is kind of like falling apart at the seams. You've got Conrad Kurz. Do you want to spend time with Conrad Kurz? Does anyone want to spend time with Conrad Kurz? And then you've got Fulgrim. You've got Perturabo just going, can we just focus for a bit? We might actually be able to get this done. And then gets annoyed because no one has the same level of focus as he does.
So it's sort of a boring, efficient bookkeeper in Terminator armor.
But so fucking mad about it as well. And like, he's the kind of person you take the piss out of because you know he'd get mad about it. And when he flies off the handle, you're like, right, look, Peter Turbo, just calm down, right? It's okay.
Yeah. So Petrarbo, efficient, competent, boring, not hot.
He's definitely not hot.
Would not be a laugh down the pub.
He wouldn't be. he'd be the guy you wind up. Like him and Fulgrim might be a laugh together.
Yeah, but Fulgrim really gets on his nerves, doesn't he?
Yeah. Oh, he hates him. Yeah, and I love that about him. Yes. Yeah. Cool.
Right, moving on. 5th Legion.
Yeah.
Jagatai Khan. One of my favourites. Also, I apologise if Jagatai is not how you pronounce it, it's how I pronounce it.
I'm going to put this out there.
I've also heard people calling him Jagati, but I mean...
What? Fuck that.
Well, knocking everything over. It's so, normally it's something you only see written down, so you can kind of make up your own pronunciation to an extent.
A list from Will, who's been on the pod before, of his Primarch tiers, and we'll get to that in a bit. All I'll say is Jagatai Khan might be my favourite Primarch.
Yeah, so firstly, is a laugh.
He does a lot of laughing, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Genuinely has fun. Seems like it'd be a good time to hang out with. And they're really just cool so look. Cool.
Yeah.
They've got a really unique look among the rest of the legions with their sort of Genghis Khan kind of inspired aesthetic. And just the fact that they there is a great bit in one of the Siege of Terror books where Dawn is saying like, so what we need to do is we need to fortify, everyone needs to stay here, we'll consolidate our strength there, and then Jagatai's like, nah bruv, and they all just shoot off on their bikes and go and fuck shit up.
Yeah, that's what they do. They're known as the laughing killers as well, because they just, can you imagine you hear the rumble of motorbikes and just laughter coming from over the horizon? Like, it's fucking terrifying to think about. Not one of the bad guys as well in terms of Primarchs, not one of the worst at least. Like, pretty thoughtful in terms of like how he reacts. Like, he might be fast when it comes to actual like combat, but he's one of the guys that kind of sits back and actually pays attention to things and what's going on, rather than just rushing in there and reacting to things.
So one of the things with the Primarch is most of the ones who have a reputation of being like an unthinking barbarian are actually some of the sort of the deepest thinkers. So like him, Leman Russ, Angron not so much.
Angron's
no.
We'll come to Angron.
But he's sort of quite careful and considered. But yeah, when they do stuff, it's Mach 2 off the back of a jet bike.
Well, I mean, he founded everything. He's basically a horse master, and then someone gave him them motorbikes. I just love the White Scar that they've got a grudge list. Like, if you piss them off, then the next time they do a great hunt,
you're going on the list, buddy.
You go on the list, and I just love that. It's like, all right, I respect, because the White Scars have such a run-in with the Necrons. They're like, all right, you let us go, we got out. You're going on the list. And then Necron's like, yeah, fine, whatever.
Don't tell me your name, Pike.
I've got a great back and forth with him and Mortarion, just because they were one of the last legions to decide what side they were going to fight on, whether it was going to be the loyalist or the traitors.
Again, because he actually stops and has a think about it rather than just following his gut instinct, which is how most of them get lured to chaos.
Yeah. Because this is the one I kind of prepared for, because I fucking love Jagatai Khan. So he says, I see what happened, he said quietly. Mortarion cocked his head. Oh, you're always sincere, I'll give you that, said Khan. You never hid what you wanted. I can guess how you thought it would go. First hobble the sorcerers, silence the witches, drive them out, and rule passes to the uncorrupted. And rule passes to the uncorrupted, the healthy. That was your great project. You even told me of it. That day on Ulanor. I thought back then that they were empty threats, but I should have known. You do not make empty threats. As the Khan spoke, Mortarion's mask locked expressions, remaining inscrutable. Every so often his eyes would go filmily, or his finger would twitch. There was a kind of febrile energy about him, spilling out the cracks just as the noxious fumes did. But it's gone wrong, hasn't it? And this is Jagatai Khan turning to fucking Mortarion at this point. Hasn't it? The Khan went on. You have completed your great mission, but there are more sorcerers than ever. Horus has sponsored them. Lorgar has shown them new magic tricks. If Magnus has not already made up his mind, then he soon will. And then you will be surrounded. You've destroyed the Librarius, only to find the witches are now untrammeled. They played you well. You have done their work for them, and soon you will be dragged into it yourself as a warp sick as they are. It's just, it's so cool.
Yeah.
He says, you think that... I see it perfectly. Magnus showed me. Your Legion may be free of it for now, but the change will come. You've made your pacts, and now they will come to collect you, you fool.
Nice.
Jaghatai Khan's fucking awesome. And
He's really
that's the
cool.
moment when he decided
and
he's
the
gonna be
White
like
Scars are
one of the
great on the
lords.
tabletop. They've got some really good rules. They can just fucking zip about and crazy movement. The big problem is that painting large amounts of white armor is about the hardest thing you can do. So nobody collects them.
Yeah, or yellow armor, but we'll get to that in a bit as well. But
genuinely,
I've always said,
give the White Scars a livery change, and they will become far more popular.
You'd have to change their name as well, though. I love the White Scars. I've always said if I collect Space Marines again, because I collected Ultramarines originally, because basic bitch over here. Because
you're basic.
Yeah. White Scars would probably be where I would go.
Yeah. Yeah.
The other reason why I went with Dark Angels and no jumping back was because they had the Ravenclaw. Is it Ravenclaw?
No,
the
Deathwing and Ravenwing.
The house in Harry Potter.
Yeah, Ravenwing. Yeah. And the Deathwing and Ravenwing were kind of the two things because they're the cool things.
They are quite cool, actually. Yeah.
Dark Angels.
But it would be quite with the new army rules. You could probably do an all jet bikes White Scars army quite easily.
Yeah,
that would be just so cool.
They'd need to change the rules. But yeah.
I think you can do it now. You don't have compulsory troop. You just need as long as you can get a leader character
on a bike,
then you're pretty much fine. I think. Need to actually read that PDF properly, but so I think you could get away with it. You probably wouldn't be like tournament legal, but who gives a shit about that?
No, exactly. Yeah, and you'd be missing out on all the things that Space Marines kind of excel on, things like Terminators, that kind of thing. But it doesn't.
Yeah,
really
but Terminators don't feel very White Scars because they're slow.
No,
and
exactly.
cumbersome.
But it's what is putting me off getting the Leviathan box set. Is that if I want Space Marines, I want Space Marines on bikes, and I want them in jetpacks, and I want them on land speeders, and I want them going fast in white armor. And then the other option would be Raven Guard as well, but even that doesn't really suit them either. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Russ asks, Dan asks, is your room a pinball machine, Russ?
That'd be quite cool, though, wouldn't it?
Yeah. And he says
It
full
just sounds like
Petrarca would
shut off.
make a great sitcom.
True. Right, let's move on. But Jaghatai Khan, top-notch Primarch.
Yeah, probably my favourite so far.
6th Legion, the doggies. It's Lehman Russ.
I don't like Lehman Russ. I'll be honest.
They're space Vikings, which is cool.
Yeah.
I quite like him. He's quite cool, but he always seems just a bit. There's not much sort of to him in any of the.
He'll tell you
stories.
what he's done. Like he's quite happy to talk about himself. Let's be honest. He's, that's what Lehman Russ does. He's
a Norse god, isn't he?
But he's kind of meant to be.
He's basically Thor, isn't he?
Yeah.
Well, with Fenrir in there because of the wolf aspect.
I don't know. Space Wolves kind of annoy me a little bit, I think. But,
there's something of an outlier, aren't they, in the fact that they are like actually part wolf.
Yeah. But that's worth mentioning, that all the Primarchs have something different about them. So that's what makes them all different from each other. Because it would be quite boring if they were all kind of the same, wouldn't it, I suppose?
Have you read Prospero Burns?
No, because I haven't read. I need to finish Thousand Suns before I get to Prospero Burns. But yeah,
so it's good. It's mainly about the Space Wolves. Like 2/3 is just sort of Space Wolf stuff. It's actually pretty good.
So Lehman Russ deserves a little bit of credit because it's not entirely his fault that he goes there to destroy Magnus, because he's on his way to try and stop Magnus, basically, isn't he? That's what the Emperor's trying to get him to do.
Yeah, and then Horus kind of
yeah.
tells him,
Yeah.
"Oh, Magnus is really fucking shit up."
Yeah.
Yeah, Dad says you got to kill him. Don't ask him. Don't ask. No, the phones are down. But you just go and kill him.
Yeah. So that's not entirely his fault. He is, because in an earlier battle, the Thousand Sons had pissed off the Space Wolves, though. He is quite happy to be going to do it. But, you know. Yeah. I don't know. There's not much to say about Leman Russ. Like, he's just... Either you're into it or you're not. Like, he is just a space Viking.
Yeah, I like the aesthetic. And the fact that they're just there to do whatever is asked, no questions.
Yeah, like, he's surprisingly loyal considering how they don't regard the Codex Astartes remotely in any way, shape or form. They just do their own thing. But then at the same time, fiercely loyal. So, you know, there is an element of that.
He has a tendency to like fighting other Primarchs, though, because he also fights Angry Rom.
He does, and he also gets into a fight with Lionel Johnson as well.
Yeah, and he's one that sort of also seems to be happy to tell off the other Primarchs, sort of go tattle to the Emperor, saying, "I think you need to censor that one." I'm happy to go and give them a bit of a spanking.
He was one of the ones that thought he should be in charge of the Great Crusades as well, isn't he? I think I might be wrong on that, but there's a few of them that thought they should have.
Totally
Perturabo was another one, obviously, but yeah.
Petulant Peter.
What I like is that have you heard about the Dornian heresy, this alternate universe thing?
No.
Where Rogel Dorn is the one that's leading the heresy, basically.
Okay.
And the Space Wolves fall to Khorne, which makes so much sense.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah,
you can see that.
Was this fanfic that somebody's done?
What was it?
Yeah.
It was it's him, Angron, and it's the White Scars as well, isn't it? They're all thought of as some of the best on the field, but they were considered the barbarian type ones, but actually the only one that was properly barbarian was probably Angron, and then you could see the Space Wolves possibly going that way because because it's said that Leman Russ is always at the front line and stuff. And stuff. I hope you appreciate my accuracy in on detailing it.
Well, thank you. Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. So yeah, Leman, bit basic, isn't it? Space Viking. He's like in the warp or something, isn't he now? I don't know. He's like hunting like people in the warp. There's like a few of them that went off to the warp. We'll get to my favourite one.
So current status of Perturabo, he's a demon. Jagatai Khan, missing. Leman Russ.
Perturabo's demon, but we haven't seen him yet, and I can't wait because I get the feeling it's going to be...
He's a grumpy demon. He doesn't want to be a demon, and he hates demons.
Yeah.
But basically, they had to make him a demon for him to still be alive.
The Khan one after, I just want to call them Dark Elder, Drakari in the Webway. So he's
in the Webway trying to find Kimura or something like that, but has been for 10,000 years.
So that's exciting because that means you could imagine him coming back, and how is he going to come back? On a motorbike.
on a stolen Drakari jet bike, yeah. So I think the obvious thing is that all the alive Primarchs are going to get new models. So
eventually
the demons are going to stop skulking around and come out, and they'll have new models, and the missing presumed question mark ones are going to wake up / reappear.
Do you not think they're going to stagger that though?
Oh god, yeah. Like how long was it from Gilliman to Johnson? Like 5 years?
It was a whole generation. So it was 9th to 10th. So it was 8th to 9th.
It was quite a while.
And it was the same. I think we'll get a demon Primarch and a regular Primarch every generation. So I think with 10th we'll probably get Leman Russ and Fulgrim probably, to be fair. That would be my guess anyway. Yeah. Because I think the ones people are crying out for are like the main chapters are what? Blood Angels, Dark Angels, Ultramarine, Space Wolves, yeah. And if they bring Sanguinius back, they can't bring Sanguinius back. Can't bring Sanguinius back, yeah.
No.
So And then in terms of chaos, you can't bring Horus back. So then you've got...
he is dead is not a strong enough word for what Horus is.
So you've got Angron, Magnus, Miltarion, and Fulgrim. So yeah, Fulgrim's the only one that hasn't been brought back yet.
What's happening in the Arc of Omens?
It's done. So Chaos kind of won in the end, from what I understand. But the Lion came back as well, because that's what it was all leading up to anyway. So
wasn't it? The Arc of Omens was, because that's the final bit, is the Lion coming back. So, but wasn't there talk that they're going to bring in a new Chaos God?
So the whole thing of the Arc of Omens is Vashtor's trying to ascend to become the 5th Chaos God, but it didn't work out that way. But he did also manage to find all the components to the thing he was trying to find.
Who's Vashtor?
Yeah, Vashtor is the Archfane. So he's the guy that basically designs all the demon weapons. So if you want someone to put demons in weapons, he's the guy to do it.
Okay.
And he basically had enough and decided he wanted to ascend to be a Chaos God. And it didn't quite work out, but he did manage to... I think he managed to bloody the nose of the Imperium, but we're not really... We're talking about Tyranids now in the Imperium, aren't we? So, that's the main thing. So for a while, Chaos will be to one side. So
Cool. Yeah. Right, okay, moving on.
Yeah.
7th Legion,
yeah.
Rogel Dawn. The Imperial Fisters.
I'll be honest, I fucking hate Rogel Dawn. He annoys the shit out of me. I would rather go to the pub with Perturabo than Rogel Dawn.
He is one that the other Primarchs say is the stick up his arse pencil pusher.
Yeah. Yeah. That's 100%.
Likes his building blocks.
Oh my god, yeah. He's so boring.
I do quite like the Imperial Fists. I think they look really cool.
Yeah. And also, you're right, best hair. His armour's a bit OTT, let's be honest.
I'm not sure about this picture of him. He doesn't normally look like gold head to toe, does he?
No, he always wears gold.
But this is
he hasn't got a bit much. Although
that picture that we had at the start of all the Primarchs in a row. I think they must constantly be getting caught on each other. They've all got so many sticky out bits and wings and capes and spikes and things. They must if they bump into each other in a corridor, it's going to take them 20 minutes to get separated.
Have you read Flight of the Eisenstein? Eisenstein? Is that right?
Yeah. Yes.
With Nathaniel Garrow.
Yeah. They escape the beginning of the heresy, rush, find the Imperial Fist, and his first response is well, I'm probably going to kill you because you haven't followed the rules.
Yeah, basically. And then starts to get annoyed the idea that Horus might actually have turned.
Yeah.
And it's how fucking blind are you? This is clearly happening. So yeah, and he's an absolute fucking bellend in that as well. And I just think he's the one that carried the Emperor to the Golden Throne at the end as well and stuff like that. And my favourite thing about Rogel Dawn... Sorry, Duncan, you carry on before I get into that.
No, I mean, so we've got the boring, hard-working one who's dour, emotionless, and just wants to get the job done, but goes to chaos. And then we've got the crop hair. He hasn't got the best hair.
No,
it's just short back and sides.
It's dead heat between Corax, Sanguinius, and
Fulgrim.
Yeah.
And Magnus.
No, Magnus. Yeah, good point.
And then we've got the boring, downward, single-minded, reserved.
Yeah, him and Perturabo are two sides of the same coin. They're very similar. So all the Primarchs have their particular skill. His is fortress building. Perturabo's is fortress knocking down. They are some of them are sort of mirrors of each other, and him and Perturabo are definitely one of those sort of pairings.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, genuinely generally considered quite boring.
He is capable though. It is worth mentioning that he is useful.
He also
kind of all
landed on his feet. He did have the star system his pod landed in already had some relics of Age of Technology. And when the Emperor meets him, he's on his starship, the Phalanx.
Yeah. Which one of my favourite things is he goes to give it to the Emperor, and the Emperor's like, no, I don't need that. Thank you. You're giant dick extension that you've got there. Like, it's just
He's got such a small dick, hasn't he?
oh, I fucking yeah, he's got a tiny cock. Like, that's one thing that's happening with Rogel Dawn. Like, we're talking Primarch lengths. Like, he's probably smallest, I'd say.
Yeah.
One of my favourite things, though, is that Perturabo goads him to come and take on this impossible maze on his fucking ship or wherever it is.
Oh yeah, and he's just like, right, yeah, I fucking will then. If
Yeah,
you
exactly.
But before we come down there, now can I just check? You're not going to like cheat or lie to me at all, are you? Chaos Primarch Perturabo. No, okay, lads, in we go.
Yeah, loses what 1/3 of the Legion.
More than that, isn't it? It's like it takes them out of action for like 20 years, and Gilliman has to come and save them.
Yeah, which must chap Rogel Dawn's hide no end because he fucking hates Gilliman as well. Like, Rogel Dawn is the military enthusiast that goes a bit too far. Like, if you're hanging out with
he'd
Rogel
be very
Dawn
intense at paintball, wouldn't he?
Yeah. So, like, if they're all in an office, Rogel Dawn's the kind of guy that no one really wants to go to the pub with because he just starts talking about, like, offensive tactics of World War II. We'll get on to Gilliman in a bit because it's different because they are cut from the same cloth but very, very different as well.
In a different way, yeah.
Yeah, I find the Imperial Fist. So I also find the Imperial Fist. Basically, I get annoyed by people that don't. That Gilliman comes up with this idea of going, right, Horus Heresy was bad, so we've got this idea, right? Only 1,000 troops per legion. We're going to have these other chapters that are going to come in, so that what it means is we don't fuck this up. And there's like loads of them that just go, yeah, sure thing, Gilliman, you wanker. Yeah, sure. Okay, so we'll set up the Black Templars and the Crimson Fists and all these legions that will eventually become... Oh, Dan's nailed it. Rogel Dawn is Walter from The Big Lebowski. That is 100% right, yes. And like, so the idea of like the Black Templars and like the Crimson Fists is that they all eventually, if shit hits the fan, they'll become Imperial Fists. Because there's no way Imperial Fist was ever defect to Chaos. So yeah. So I hope it goes wrong. Fuck the Imperial Fists. Their armor's shit as well.
So Rogel Dawn,
Yeah.
fairly hot but quite boring. Current status, probably dead.
Lost in the first Black's Crusade.
He is sort of recorded as dead in the first Black Crusade, but with the normal caveats and question marks around that.
They'll probably want to bring him back at some point. So yeah,
they'll probably they definitely could bring him back, but he is more dead than missing at the moment.
They've said there's skeletal remains scattered around the
they've got his hand, haven't they? They've got the skeleton of his hand on the flanks. I'm hoping, and if you ever go into a shop that sells those artist mannequin hands, and kids have always left them all doing that. I really hope that's how they've got Rogel Dawn's Imperial Fist mounted on a little plaque. No, because
Imperial Fists are all too fucking boring to do that. Like,
yeah, but like whenever any visiting chapter comes in, they're like, "Oh, they've been fucking with his hand again."
I love the fact
Sorry,
that they've got the
Rogel.
Imperial Fist, and the only thing they've got left is his hand because Perturabo chopped it off.
Yeah.
So like it does amuse me somewhat. Dan says Black Templars are awesome. He collects Black Templars.
They are pretty awesome.
They are kind of fucking awesome. Like,
they're also nuts.
Yeah, but he also collects the sisters as well. So like it's.
I mean, they're nuts too.
They're nuts as well. Cut from the same cloth there as well. So yeah.
Right, let's go. 8th Legion.
8th Legion, yeah. Bloody hell.
It's Psycho Batman.
Is that the 8th Legion?
Yeah.
The Night Lords?
Yeah.
I'm so
like
bad
the
at
Night
knowing
Lords.
which one's which. I fucking love the Night Lords.
They are the most metal. It's also... I was trying to think who was Richard Chase, and I think it's Angry Ron.
Oh, 100%. He's also like known as what, the Night Stalker as well?
The Night Haunter.
The Night Haunter.
But Conrad Kurtz isn't
Conrad
Richard
Kurtz,
Chase. He's something worse.
He's fucking the Night Stalker. He's his face? God, what's his
He's
name?
He's
Richard
Batman,
Ramirez.
but
Richard
with the
Ramirez,
rule about not killing people very much not in play.
I think we should all be glad that Zack Snyder doesn't know who Conrad Kurz is.
Oh, Jesus, yeah. Oh, he'd love it, wouldn't he?
Yeah, like, this is the Batman who has decided it's better to kill lots of people. He cut down the crime rate on...
He does it, doesn't he?
Right.
Like, it's
Nostromo.
a crime-free utopia, because anyone thinks about doing anything naughty, there's Conrad hanging in your bedroom, killing your family.
Yeah, on his own.
Won't kill you. He'll kill lots of other people that you know.
The thing is, it's also that they come in, they're the stealth artists, but it's always best to be up close and personal. They never.
But they're
use
professional
guns.
terrorists, basically, aren't they? It's like they. I think isn't it the bit at the end where he's like having his big emo soliloquy at the end before he gets killed, and he's like, "Look, people think I'm a dick, but if you add it up, I never blew up any planets. I never slaughtered entire species. I only killed a few people. I mean, yes, I might have gone to town a bit. I might have dismembered a few more children than is considered ideal. But if you add up the numbers, I've kind of killed less than everybody else."
So, Sanguinius is blessed with seeing the good outcome of everything, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
And Conrad Kurz is tainted by seeing the bad outcome of everything, like these psychic powers that they've got. Conrad Kurz knows how he's going to die from the start, and it's argued whether Kurz knows how he's going to die, and as a result he just kind of lets it happen, and that's kind of what happens, or whether that's actually how it would happen. Because multiple people have tried to kill him before, and he's gone, "No, this isn't how it happens," and he's killed them. Mm-hmm. But then the one time he goes, "No, this is how it's meant to happen," he just kind of lets it happen.
Well, it's sort of like if he doesn't let it happen, then he's admitting that what he saw in his visions wasn't the inevitable outcome of things. It was a possibility.
Which has led him down this entire path the whole way.
So he hates himself. He's an emo edgelord. He hates himself. He hates his own legion. He kind of hates everybody. He doesn't. He's not a fun guy.
Hates his planet, that's for sure.
He hates his own existence.
Yeah,
and he just wants the oblivion. And as soon as the Horus Heresy ended, he was like, "Nah, fuck it, fuck you all. I'm just gonna die." Because he's not like, even the Night Lords themselves are chaos undivided, and it was only because we can't go back, and they flee into the Eye of Terror. They're not really chaos; they're just fucking bastards.
They're chaos because they're all serial killers.
Yeah, they're not chaos. They're just assholes.
Yeah, might be the best armor as well.
They do look so cool. Metal. And I love the fact they've literally given him a bat symbol on his chest. Yeah, because he is pretty much Psycho Batman.
He is Psycho Batman. Yeah, I fucking love the Night Lords, and I love Conrad Kurz as well. Like, he is, he's just great as well. He's just so fucking evil, but at the same time, like, you feel a little bit bad for him because he's one of those guys that the Emperor saw and went, "Well, this guy's useful because he doesn't have morals, so we can just send him in to do things that other people wouldn't do."
Yeah, it's another case of, he's so broken, great, he can do my really dirty work.
Yeah.
Equally, maybe enjoyed torturing Vulcan a little bit too much. Like, as soon as he found out that Vulcan was a perpetual and you couldn't kill him, maybe he didn't. Most people would go, "Shit, that's going to be a problem." He went, "Brilliant.
Let me just try. So, I've got a few other ideas here."
Yeah. Yeah. So he's...
Because he's got that labyrinth on his ship.
Yeah. I think, isn't that the one that Perturabo did set up? Am I making that one up? I might be wrong.
I think he made it, but isn't it because... Oh, yeah, no, he's got one of them's got the labyrinth. I thought...
Didn't Perturabo... Don't they put Angron in that when they can't think of what to do with him at the start of the Terror?
The Night Haunter gets him... No, Perturabo tricks Angron onto...
Yeah.
They manage to transport him onto Night Haunter's ship because he's got that torturous dungeon. Oh, I can't remember anyway.
Yeah, because they just need to stop him eating all their crew. So they do that. I do love that moment. Like, when they're ready, but they're like, "Fuck it, just open the doors," and he just jumps out of the ship and lands in front of the Imperial Palace going, "Father!" It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's very cool. Yeah, no, I love Conrad Curze.
There's a moment when the Chaos Fleet first arrives in the solar system, Angron is standing on the outside of the front of his ship, waving his axes in the air, in space. But he's just standing on the bonnet of his ship, going, "Yeah, fuck you all." I like Angron.
I like Angron as well. He's just fucking evil. But yeah.
Right, Comrade Kurz, current status: dead, assassinated by like an officio assassinorum assassin with an Apocalypse Now referencing the name.
Dan says, "Is Angron like Mr. T? I ain't going on no battle barge."
Yeah.
He just rides them instead of like gets on them. But yeah.
Not hot, Comrade Kurz, and not fun to spend time with.
I get the feeling he smells of like cigarettes and stale sweat.
Yeah, but a bit too keen to sort of show you his poetry, I think. But
like he's like
cool.
At Christmas he'd be the awkward one that doesn't give Grandma a kiss.
He's just a professional buzzkill. Right, let's move on. Ninth Legion. It's your boy Sanguinius.
Okay.
And for some reason I can only find a really not a bad picture of him. I mean, I couldn't draw this, but that's not how I picture Sanguinius.
There's no bad pictures of Sanguinius for starters. Sanguinius is hot as fuck.
Yeah.
Like, and it's in nearly every book you'll read about Sanguinius is basically written by the perspective of someone that wants to bang him.
Yeah.
Like,
isn't he blonde, blue-eyed, basically?
Yeah. He's
super hot, but he's also cool, charismatic, funny,
got wings,
caring, got wings. Yeah.
Well, he actually looks a bit strawberry blonde in some of these.
Yeah. Also a vampire. It's worth mentioning that he
just makes him hotter though, doesn't it?
Yeah, it kind of does. His name's Sanguinius. It should have been in the name, really, shouldn't it? Arguably would have been probably most people's choice for who should be the War Master as well. Like,
yes, but he's probably he probably would have declined it.
Yeah. Best friends with Horus, right up until that ends badly.
Mm-hmm.
And there's an argument the only reason Sanguinius loses that battle is because he fights a bloodthirster before then.
And
like
Angron.
And Angron.
No, he doesn't fight Angron. Angron challenges him.
Yeah.
And Sanguinius leaves, but Angron can't get in.
Yeah. But he fights a bloodthirster first and wins, but it does wound him.
I think he does. I think he does fight Angron a bit. Like he doesn't, not to the death, obviously.
But
yeah, he does. He fights Angron, but not like. Yeah, I think he doesn't. He like fuck his wings up or something, and then
he says, "I'll fight you. This is not the time. I will fight you, but this is not the time."
Yeah,
I think they do fight a bit because by the time he's up on what's Horus's ship called?
Oh, the Vengeful
Spirit. Yeah. So by the time he's up on the Vengeful Spirit, he is basically mortally wounded.
Yeah. He knows he's going to die, but the thing is, he's always known he's going to die at this point as well.
Yeah. So he has foresight as well, and he sort of sees things that his brothers are seeing as well, doesn't he?
Yeah.
But he doesn't always know the context of it or what's going on.
But he knows that he's going to die saving the Emperor. That was his big thing, wasn't it? That
but he never tells anyone.
He had to die to save the Emperor as well. Yeah. So.
Yeah. So he basically he knows exactly what's going to happen when he goes up there. But yeah, pretty cool. He
gets on with all of the Primarchs as well.
Like everyone loves him. Like I mean, literally everyone loves him. Like nobody. The best you get is sort of like a grudging respect from people like Mortarion and Petrarabo.
His Legion loved him to the point where when he died, it drove them fucking insane.
Mm-hmm.
Like legitimately insane.
Mark.
Yeah. What is it? The Black
Rage.
It's the Black Rage.
The Black Rage.
And the thirst that they have before then as well.
So the Red Thirst is something they have where they just might take a nibble of someone while they're killing them. Yeah. Whereas the Black Thirst is where they legitimately just believe.
Well, they start seeing his battle with Horus in their heads.
Yeah.
They start living it out, like as if they are Sanguinius.
And it drives
and
them insane.
they go completely, like they're not aware of what they're doing, really, are they?
Yeah. Blood Angels are pretty cool. I just don't like the red. I'll be honest.
Or orange,
like, I
isn't
know
it?
some people really like it, but like,
I mean, you could paint them however you wanted to. Like I've seen Blood Angels armies where people do them like a really dark crimson red. And that looks
might be
really
quite
good.
cool, actually. Yeah.
Or you
Always
could
like their
do.
jump
There
packs.
are loads of successor chapters that
Flesh Terrors. That kind of
have
thing, yeah.
various different themes of red and blood drops.
Could
and
do
things.
Lamenters. There are Blood Angels.
They are, aren't they? Yeah.
Successor chapter.
There's loads of them. Obviously,
Fuckers.
with chapters, you can make up your own because there's fucking thousands of them.
Yeah. I'm thinking this might be a two-parter, guys.
Yeah,
We'll-
let's do one more, and then that takes us halfway through.
And then we'll do the last part. Afterwards.
I quite like the next one. I like Ferris.
Oh,
let's-
spoilers.
Let's just round off Sanguinius. So,
Yeah.
hot,
Fucking hot.
excellent hair,
Second hottest. Yeah.
current
Second best
status extremely dead.
Yeah, so if they bring him back, we riot.
They can't bring
Okay.
him back because it undoes one of the key moments of their lore from the last 40 years.
Him dying was the reason the Emperor summoned the strength to actually kill Horus.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, unless they go down the random guardsman / John Grammaticus
I
route.
fucking love that though as well. The random guardsman that says so. There's there's a war gear for the Imperial Guard that's based around the one guy, like that gets in the way to save the Emperor.
Yeah,
which I really
I do
love.
like because he doesn't do anything. He just gets obliterated.
Yeah,
But it's seeing
Horus.
that happen that gives that convinces the Emperor that there is nothing left in Horus worth saving.
Yeah.
But
Sanguinius
I'm not
would
sure
make
about
the
it, 'cause,
best
it seems a
wingman.
bit like how would just this like one guy with a las gun get there? He wouldn't be a guardsman; he'd be an Imperial Army person, wouldn't he? The guard didn't exist at this point.
If you went out,
Solar Auxilia. Yeah.
Sanguinius would obviously be getting. If you were chatting to a girl, Sanguinius would not try and steal her off you.
That's the thing. Like, even though
Algrim would.
Sanguinius could bone anyone he wants to, like literally anyone or anything, I think he'd be an excellent literal wingman.
Yeah.
Whereas,
as
Fulgrim
well.
would be disappearing in a taxi with them.
Oh yeah, Fulgrim. Like if you were chatting up two people, right?
Fulgrim
And
would
like
take all
you think
three
it's
of you.
going really well, like one-on-one, like everyone's kind of getting on well. Like you'd go, I'm going to go get some drinks, and you'd turn your back, and Fulgrim would be leaving with both of them.
Yeah, and
Plus
the
that.
barman and a few others.
Yeah, yeah. Everyone would be following Fulgrim. I'd be following Fulgrim. So like, it's Hey, I've got this great theatre house. Come see what's going on down there.
So Sanguinius. We love Sanguinius. Everyone loves Sanguinius.
Yeah, don't bring him back ever.
I really don't think they will.
No.
Next up, also not likely to be coming back, 10th Legion, Ferrus Manus.
Yeah. He really tried to get ahead, didn't he? But it just didn't work.
He got a hand. He got a hand on things. Let's face it.
He's got a really cool gimmick.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
He's
I've never
the
really
Fred
engaged with him
Dibner
all that much.
of Warhammer 40k. Like, so there is some stuff I really like about him, which is that there's a whole thing in the Fulgrim book about how he's not afraid to ask for help, like how it's a strength to actually ask for help when you need it, when you can't get a job done, and you can rely on your friends, which is like the total opposite of the Emperor's Children. Like, even not in that book, there's the Horus Rising has the bit where there's the Emperor's Children believe they can just take on this whole planet themselves. It's going wrong, and they hate that the Lunar Wolves have turned up to help them. And the Iron Hands are the total opposite of that at this point. Ferrus Manus is very much all about, right, we're not winning, we need help. We're going to call on my very good friend Fulgrim, who will never betray me, who will never chop my head off, to come and get help. And I love the story between Ferrus Manus and Fulgrim as well. It's genuinely sweet.
Yeah, it's a
They-
really
they-
nice
I
bit
mean,
of
they
writing.
have a
there.
competition to see who would forge the better.
Yeah,
weapon. And then they
Ferrus
go-
Manus is working because they've never met, have they?
Yeah.
So Ferrus Manus
He's on Terra working on the forges, and because he's
Yeah.
doing everything by hand,
like
he
literally
mocks-
by hand. He doesn't use a hammer in the forge. He just punches metal.
It's because he's got Necron
Iron
arms.
hands. He's got, yeah.
It's Necrodermis, so everyone thinks he's basically infected by Necrons. He hates his arms. He actually hates it. He really wants to detach. He doesn't like the fact that the Iron Hands are also
Was
copying
listening to
him.
an episode of Adeptus Ridiculous where they're talking about Terminator armor, and there's this great type of Terminator armor, but the problem is it basically gives you electro poisoning or something silly like that. So the only way to get round it is by just bionics, basically. So the Iron Hands are the only ones that use it because they are just willing to go, yeah, sure, why not? Let's go crazy. But I think the Iron Hands changed ways when Ferrus Manus died. Like it feels like the Iron Hands up to that point were very much just like we're all about forging and like fighting and trying our hardest to build.
Yeah,
the best
they weren't
weapons.
so much about like replacing large parts of themselves with machines all the time, were they?
Yeah,
Well, Ferris wanted to stop that.
yeah,
He was worried that over the reliance, he wanted to rediscover the flesh because of what he gone through. But yeah, the story is that Ferris is forging. Halgrim comes in, makes fun of Halgrim, but they kind of instantly connect.
Well, they
And-
each say that we should be looking at building, like we should have a competition to see who could build the best weapon, right? Make the best weapon.
Yeah, and he's like,
and-
you've got
yeah.
no chance with those pasty, manicured hands of yours.
Yeah. So as a result, Fulgrim builds a hammer, and Ferrus Manus builds a sword, and they both agree it's a dead heat. And Fulgrim agreeing that he's not better than someone.
They don't even agree it's a dead heat. They each
Yeah.
say the other one has won,
Yeah,
Yeah,
and then
And
like,
they swap weapons.
they don't say anything else. They just swap weapons, and
Yeah.
then they're busy mates from that point until one of them murders the other one.
yeah. What it's even worse than that. The bit where they're on the battle barge, Ferrus Manus, and Fulgrim's trying to convince Ferrus Manus that this is the right thing to do. Not understand that Ferrus Manus hasn't changed his ways. Ferrus Manus votes Tory. Let's start with that one, unfortunately. But Ferrus Manus votes Tory because he's always voted Tory, not because like any other reason. But yeah, it's genuinely quite sad. Like I always feel that Ferrus Manus is just, once again, galactic conquerors conquering planets that don't want to be conquered. But Ferrus Manus is just trying to get things done and just trying to figure out the best way of doing it, and thinks he's got a friend in Fulgrim, and he doesn't seem to have that many friends either that see him as like being an equal. He's kind of the forgotten child. And yeah, and Fulgrim kind of absolutely betrays him on that. That must be fucking awful.
Yeah, I really get this in that first bit when they fight.
Yeah.
The only reason that Ferrus Manus doesn't kill him is because he's so shocked and disappointed and scared by what's happened, and he can't bring himself to do it. And then when they're fighting again later on Istvan or wherever it is,
Yeah.
it's the demon in the sword that really does it. It's not Fulgrim can't bring himself to kill Ferrus Manus really, and then the demon in the sword makes him do it.
Still, he does have a part in the Horus Heresy. Well, his head's involved anyway. When the demon that's taken over Fulgrim drops the head off in front of Horus, which is fucking dark, but I love it. Yeah, Ferrus Manus is another one you can't bring back, although they've mentioned it a few times.
No, he can't come back. He can't.
No.
You don't need him to.
No.
And it would render a lot of stuff completely pointless. So his status is very dead. Like he's not coming back. I think none of the ones that are definitely dead will come back. Sanguinius will not come back. Horus definitely won't, no matter what some idiots say. That would be a terrible idea.
Well, the fact that they even went as far as saying, "Hey, someone made a clone of Horus and Abaddon killed him,"
Yeah.
because no
'Cause
one
he's not
wants a clone of Horus.
He's not just dead. Like the Emperor, like obliterates his soul. So, like he there's no like spirit floating around in the warp or any of that nonsense. He has ceased to be. He is an ex-parrot. He's not coming back.
That being said, there is a clone of Fulgrim, isn't there? Which is in Trazen's vault.
Yeah, but that's where they put everything that, like, we probably shouldn't have come up with that. Trazen nicked it. It's in the vault.
How have the Necrons got the funniest characters, by the way? Like, how did
going
that happen?
from having 0 character originally to actually being like, they're apart from the orcs, they're the only sort of ones that have a bit of humour to them. Somehow.
I mean, it's weird that they do, considering they're just death robots.
Yeah,
but I loved reading up about the Necrons because they were just so funny.
They're fucking amazing. And Trazen and oh god, what's his guy? The
Traveller.
Yeah. So
the guy who forgets that he's a robot.
Yes.
Yeah, that's Nemesaur Zandrek.
Yeah.
Who kind of has sort of robot dementia and spends large parts of his life genuinely believing that he is still whatever they were before they were robots, and that it's millions of years ago.
They were called Necrontyr.
Yeah,
something.
It's always that line.
telling his assistant, "I'm going to eat some food and then have a sleep." And
his best friend, who's like the Coach Beard to his Ted Lasso. Like,
that's a really good way of putting it. Yeah, because all the other Necrons get tired of him and they send someone to kill him, and then his Coach Beard is like, "No, you don't, shank."
The best thing is when he captures people, like, because the Necrons just kill people. They don't really capture it. But he captures people and forces them to sit down for a meal with him. And so, like, every now and then one of them will try and escape, and his friend will just go and kill them as they try and escape.
I like that there are the different... I can't believe we're talking Necrons, but I do like the fact that actually there are different codes. Some Necrons do just go out and wipe out, but some do have this weird battle honor. They still have this honor.
Yeah, they've got really different... What do they call them? Septs, is it?
Yeah.
No, something like that,
That's the Tau. What's the...
well, it's the
Dynasties? That's him? Anyway, we're getting off topic. Right, Ferrus Manus, not hot, proverbially so.
It's the Gorgon.
But nice guy.
Yeah.
Status, extremely dead, not coming back.
He is definitely dead, unless you don't need a head. Like Primarchs, maybe they don't need heads.
Not sure about that.
He's just like Johnny Silverhands without being cool.
Also, that's one of my favourite pictures of a Primarch as well. Like, I love how many his little Swiss Army backpack he's got.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
With like all the different guns. There's a fucking chainsaw there.
All sorts of things.
Yeah. Right, so we'll do part 2 next week.
Pretty cool. Yeah,
I want to try and get Tom on this because I want to
another 10 Primarchs to bash through. Tom's just going to be confused by the whole thing.
Might be fun though, wouldn't it?
Oh yeah, definitely be fun.
Yeah.
Cool. So I think we're gonna pause it there for now. 10 more GC Primarchs to go.
Some of the best ones.
About 10. We should wrap this thing up, shouldn't we? Somebody else do it because I always get confused and forget when to hit the button.
I'll wrap it up because there's a couple of things I want to talk about. We haven't been back for a couple of weeks. I've had some stuff going on, basically, I think is the long and short of that. But also, we did start a World Cup of, was it movie things? That was what we were doing, wasn't it? Yeah. I will get back to that at some point, but honestly, I haven't had 5 minutes to actually look at that. So give it a couple of weeks, and then we'll come back to that.
Yeah, it could be one
we'll
for the
start
summer.
that properly. Yeah. But yeah, thank you for your patience. Thanks for sticking with us, watching us, hopefully. Yeah, so if you want to contact us, hit us up on Twitter. It's at TMTOOH, or Instagram, it's at TMTOOH. Or I fully suggest come and see the Discord. It's the pinned tweet on Twitter, and it is also in the bio on our Instagram, I believe. Or just come find me and I'll tell you how to get to it. We're having a lot of fun. We're talking about Warhammer, amongst other things. A lot of things going in the MCU as well at the moment. So it's a great place to sit and chat. Discord is amazing in general. Other than that, thank you for listening. Thank you, Russ.
Trying to think of a 40k quote there, and it completely failed me.
Yeah. Thank you, Duncan.
Your gods have abandoned you. Death is the only way. Blah blah blah.
Who said that?
Turbo. Whatever it is.
Good point. He's not wrong either. Thank you very much. And with that, in Tom fashion, I will say goodbye and thank you for listening. I'm trying to wind Russ up now. And cue the music.
I'm doing it.